SiteVisitor Match is the ability to deterministically resolve the identity of anonymous website visitors. Here's what that means and why it matters. Every day, prospects visit your website. They're actively looking for products and services you sell. They're in your sales funnel and preparing to buy. Your marketing should be focused on them and prospects who look exactly like them because they're your quickest and surest path to profits today. But you don't know who they are, so you wind up treating your best prospects the same way you treat everyone else. See the problem? Now, you might be saying, but I can retarget them, so I'm covered. Really? If you're relying on platform-specific retargeting cookies, you're letting those ad platforms dictate what you can do, how you can do it, where, for how long, pretty much everything. They're the silent, controlling business partner you never knew you had and didn't invite in. One who calls all the shots and controls how much profit you can or can't make. And to make matters worse, they don't care at all about your profits. They care about their profits. They're what's known as a powerful supplier, and they're driving down your profits. More on that in a second. For now, just realize that you don't even have a say in any of this, let alone a vote. And that's not even mentioning that anyone, at any time, can simply clear their cache. And what happens to your precious cookies when they do that? Gone. So you start all over again, from the beginning. And that's just the start. Because there are a whole host of other things identity resolution and SiteVisitor Match allows you to do that old-fashioned retargeting does not. Look at it this way. This is Bob. Bob owns different devices that he uses interchangeably throughout the day. He also visits a ton of places online. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, his favorite football team's website, news sites, you name it. Bob is everywhere. To be able to market to Bob on a people-based level, which means you know it's Bob, whether he's on his desktop, laptop, tablet, or phone, using any one of his personal email addresses, the average person uses more than 4 emails, by the way, and whether he's using any of those devices or emails on Facebook or Twitter or a rock climbing blog, you first need to resolve Bob's identity. Because you're not marketing to Bob's laptop, you're marketing to Bob. And you're not marketing to Bob on Facebook, you're marketing to Bob. You simply can't do that if all Bob is to you is a cookie that can disappear at the worst time and that lives on one browser, on one device, rather than a person. Make sense? So here's how you do that. Here's how you transform Bob from a cookie into a real person. In order to resolve his identity, we first need to make sure Bob is a real person and not a robot. And there's one thing we know about bots. They don't buy things. So when Bob signs up for a website on which he has to pay, we know he's real. Once he logs in to access the content he paid for, we can place a cookie on Bob's browser that syncs up with Bob's email address that he used to log into the site, and that's matched up with all of the other information we know about Bob in our identity graph, things like the other email addresses he uses, or the IDs of his various devices. Our identity graph contains the deterministically resolved identity of Bob and more than 200 million other U.S. consumers just like him. On average, we can resolve the identity of 50% of visitors to any website, which we can then match up with 2.6 emails and 2.5 device IDs on average per person. And that's a pretty big deal, because now you can do a whole world of things you couldn't do before. Remember what your goal is here. You want to be able to reach Bob, not Bob on Facebook, not Bob on YouTube, or Bob on his tablet at Twitter. Just plain Bob, wherever he is and whatever device he's using. With SiteVisitor Match, you can. With cookies, you can't. SiteVisitor Match gives you complete traffic insight. Cookies don't. Ownership and control of your targeting data forever. Cookies don't. The list of things SiteVisitor Match can do that cookies can't is almost ridiculously long. SiteVisitor Match gives you a permanent record of your best leads, a portable targeting method that's platform agnostic, the ability to target behavioral and demographic lookalikes across any platform, at any time, for as long as you want. True omni-channel marketing capability that even allows you to reach site visitors offline through things like direct mail or outbound phone calls, or, coming very, very soon, radio and TV. Sales match accountability. The ability to resolve a visitor's identity without a form fill. Click-to-call capability. Dynamic inbound conversion. Email retargeting without the need for an opt-in. Real-time behavioral lookalike targeting that lowers CPC by 25% to 75% on average. And even with all that, we're just getting started. Because what SiteVisitor Match gives you is power and protection. power over and protection from the 5 forces that you and every agency, every company on earth competes with for profits. We mentioned one of those forces before, powerful suppliers. Ad platforms who impose terms, conditions, and prices on you that are designed to drive up their profits, not yours. SiteVisitor Match crushes powerful suppliers by putting control back in your hands, so your agency can become platform agnostic and not live in fear of a sudden disruption or change in terms from a traffic supplier cutting you off at the knees, at any time, or for any reason. But that's just one of the forces. What about the other 4? SiteVisitor Match has those covered too. Because it gives you a sustainable competitive advantage and an only factor. Something clients want in a high-interest way and can only get from you that is impossible to compete against. It gives you the power to know first and know more than anyone else. So rival agencies can't match your insight or your capabilities. Alternatives or substitutions for your services are no longer seen as an equal trade-off. Powerful buyers can no longer drive down your prices because they can't get what you can deliver from anyone else. And newcomers on the scene will never be able to compete if they're using technology from yesteryear. If they're using cookies. SiteVisitor Match helps you beat the 5 forces, increase your clients' profits, and as a result, increase your agency's profits. That's why SiteVisitor Match matters. It's the only factor that does what cookies simply can't.